Understanding how to balance your hormones is something I want every woman to know because our hormones really do drive the course of our lives. I can think of so many patients that have come in and suddenly are acting like different versions of themselves. They're crying a lot, they're anxious, they're having trouble sleeping, maybe they've gained a ton of weight, but whatever it is, it's making them feel and act like somebody that's simply not them. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. And the beauty of balancing your hormones naturally is that there's so much you can do and so much you do have control over when it comes to hormone balancing. And this, by the way, is a really Eastern way of thinking, right? They didn't go straight to the most aggressive sledgehammer approach to solving something. They really thought more about, well, how do I gently tweak the body? What is the body missing? Is there a state of depletion? So I want to take the next few seconds to really talk about how we balance hormones naturally using that East-West philosophy, meaning we're merging together the best of Eastern and Western medicine. So let's break them down. I hope you're taking notes. Here we go. We're going to start with B vitamins, and I've got to brag about my product Boost, and here's why. The lack of B vitamins in our diet was a pattern that I was seeing over and over again when I would do lab testing on patients. I've seen over 35,000 patients now at Center Spring MD. And the B vitamins were simply not absorbing. People were trying to eat healthy, trying to do all the right things, but their numbers weren't going up. Here's the implication of low B vitamin levels, and I mean all of them, B12, B6, folate, all of them, when it comes to our hormone balance. We know the Bs are really important for estrogen. They're important for how we build estrogen, how we metabolize estrogen, where estrogen goes, and so much more. They're also super important for how we feel. Things like serotonin and dopamine are really dependent on the B vitamins. When I was starting out in practice, I couldn't find a good B vitamin. It was a part of the story of Boost, is that I just wanted a formula that would balance women's hormones with the right combination of B vitamins. So if you're out there and you're watching and you're thinking like, my hormones are off, my breasts are tender, I'm moody, I have no energy, starting with a good methylated B vitamin is a good first step. And you want something that does have methyl B12, methylated B6, which we call P5P, methylfolate, and the host of other B vitamins to go with it. So B vitamins, critical to hormone balancing. If you can't remember anything else, that's the one thing I want you to remember is please take your B vitamins to really help balance hormone patterns like estrogen dominance and even things like your thyroid, insulin, and so much more. All right, let's move on. Sitting here is probably my next favorite. I've talked about this one a lot, magnesium. Magnesium, I keep calling the miracle micronutrient, and the reason is that our soil and many of our healthiest foods, unfortunately today, are depleted in magnesium. And so even here we go again with like, I'm eating healthy, but I still don't have the nutrient profile that I really need to keep my hormones balanced. Magnesium also helps with that hormone pattern of estrogen dominance. It's critical in progesterone maintenance, right? So progesterone, remember, that hormone that really is secreted in the second half of our cycle, determines how we bleed, but really is also responsible for things like anxiety, sleep, and so much more. It's an anti-inflammatory. Magnesium actually helps with progesterone balance as well. It also helps with thyroid. So magnesium, 200 to 400 milligrams is what I've been telling patients forever at Center Spring MD, but this is one too, when we go to do lab testing, keeps coming up low over and over again. B vitamins, magnesium, I almost call them the bookends of hormone balance, and they in turn help to keep the rest of the hormones stable. All right, moving on from that, let's talk about vitamin D. This is a chronic deficiency, and it's actually a deficiency in women of color. That's right, all my Indian, Black, Hispanic patients come back over and over again with low levels of vitamin D. We see it in the Caucasian population as well, and there are some reasons for this. One of the reasons is that you're not absorbing vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it needs some fat to be able, to be absorbed and used in the body the way it's supposed to be. Now, if you're not absorbing fat well, or you have gut issues, then a lot of times even when you're taking vitamin D, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So that's one reason. The second reason, everyone gets like super confident. They're like, I'm in the sun. Of course I have great levels of vitamin D. But unfortunately, that's not always true because we can't convert a significant amount of vitamin D through just sun exposure. And people of color have even more trouble with that. So taking vitamin D is really important because it maintains hormone balance. It helps with estrogen levels again, it helps with progesterone, it helps the immune system, and it also prevents depression and anxiety. So vitamin D is yet another one that I would add to my bookends of B vitamins and magnesium when we're thinking about nutrients that really make a difference, for overall hormone balance. All right, a couple more. Again, I don't want to overwhelm, right? I never want someone, by the way, coming in with like 20 different things they're taking, right? I've been in that position before. People have the bag and they dump the bag on the table and it's like bottle after bottle after bottle, and I'm swimming through supplements trying to help them figure out what to do. So that's why we're trying to keep this pretty tight. These are the things based on my experience that I've seen super helpful, super efficient, especially when we're talking about hormone balance. Let's talk about vitamin C for a second. Here's the story with vitamin C. Vitamin C is an antioxidant. We have seen now study after study connecting the role of antioxidants to this concept of really building hormone. Again, an Eastern medicine concept, right? They thought in terms of depletion and repletion. Vitamin C was really important in all the literature. If you look at Ayurveda and Chinese medicine and many of these Eastern systems of medicine, vitamin C was incredibly important for improving egg quality, improving hormone balance, providing the antioxidants for the hormones to do their thing, to circulate, go where they're supposed to go, and build somebody from the inside out. When there is a lack of vitamin C, we see declining fertility levels, we see declining egg quality, and we see a lot of issues with ovulation. So getting in adequate amounts of your antioxidants, in particular vitamin C, is very helpful in the conversation around hormones. In fact, in practice, we do something called a fertility drip. And essentially what's in that IV is a lot of really high-powered antioxidants that are improving egg quality, helping the hormones to function efficiently, and resulting in natural hormone balance. All right, last but certainly not least, your probiotics. Remember, gut, liver, hormones. Eastern concept when it comes to balancing hormones naturally. Gut health is so important. I've been talking about this. I've talked about the estrabolome. You can check out that video right here. We've talked about gut health. There's another great video right here you can check out if you want to learn more about your gut and the connection to hormones. But probiotics in particular, we know that the bacteria in our gut determine where your hormones will go. Here's a quick example. Let's take thyroid hormone. Maybe you have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism. We give you thyroid, right? We give you a prescription for taking maybe Armour thyroid or Synthroid or whatever the medication might be. Here's what actually happens. When the gut is not healthy, your body can't convert T4 to T3, which is the active thyroid form. So you end up having all this thyroid in your system, but it's not doing anything. So by taking probiotics, we assist in that conversion. Probiotics are a big part of that process. They're a big part of making sure estrogen gets packaged up and sent off to where it needs to go, making sure the androgens don't get super high and then in turn cause things like acne or hair loss. So a probiotic is so important for the overall picture of balancing hormones naturally and for really keeping your hormones where they need to be. And when you're trying to pick a probiotic, and here's where honestly there's just a ton of confusion, when you're trying to pick a probiotic, you're wanting to look for something with at least 50 to 100 billion CFUs, that's colony forming units, and ideally it has 5 or 6 different strains of bacteria in it, and it tells you exactly the amount of those different strains. That's a quality probiotic. So this is like, for me, I think when I'm thinking about somebody really interested in jumping into this conversation around hormone balancing and wanting to do it holistically and very naturally, this is really where I would start. I start oftentimes with nutrients and this idea of repletion and building, right? I still remember my Chinese mentor when I was in the beginning of my hormone journey, like wagging his finger at me and saying, no qi, bad qi. And I really honestly didn't know what he meant. But what he was trying to say is that I didn't have the nutritional health to build hormones. And I don't want that for you. So B vitamins, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin C, probiotics, all a part of that nutrient equation to healthy hormone balancing. And yes, you can balance your hormones naturally, and we should start there before we even begin conversations around HRT and all the other more aggressive approaches. All right, remember I post new videos every week, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.